Hello, everybody. It's your girl, Marcy Thomas, and I am so excited to be back with you for another episode of Live Well Sister. So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending upon where you're watching from and when you are watching. And I am so really happy that you have decided to join us for a conversation with somebody that I have known for quite a while, y'all. So, it's always good where I can bring my long-term friends and acquaintances and people that feel like family into this space and introduce them to you. So I am coming to you from the outskirts of Atlanta, Georgia, originally from Cleveland, Ohio. And I also spent 10 years in Detroit, Michigan, which is where I met this beautiful young lady when we attended church together. So I'm really glad that she could join us. So our special guest is Chicago native LaTanya Orr, who is an award-winning brand strategist, certified life coach, and author dedicated to empowering women to rise in purpose and reign with impact. She is the founder of the FoundHER's suite. I have to be specific in how I say that. Crowned for Impact and FoundHER Collective, creating community-centered ecosystems that support women entrepreneurs and women in transition. LaTanya is a spring 2026 participant in the Goldman Sachs 1 Million Black Women Black in Business program. So congratulations to her for that. And the author, of FoundHER, Founding Me, a transformational guide to identity, leadership, and purpose-driven living. See, I'm so excited. My words are getting all jumbled up. This is her beautiful book here, and I'm super excited to have LaTanya join us. So without any further delay, let's welcome LaTanya Orr Richard to Live Well Sister. Yay!
Yay!
I'm so excited to have you here. It's such a blessing to see you. Y'all, I have to tell you that when we were in the background, it's like when she popped up on the screen, it was like, oh!
How long? It's been much too long.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen each other in person. So this is the next best thing.
Indeed.
So first, I just want to congratulate you on, I mentioned it, the Goldman Sachs 1 Million Black Women Black in Business program. I just saw you post about that recently. So that's pretty exciting for you, LaTanya.
Absolutely. Like totally surprised. There is an interviewing process. So I knew I was in one of one of the many that they chose to select it for the interviewing process. Mm-hmm. But I still was like, wow, it's so competitive. And so just to have been selected out of almost 1,500 people, I think.
Wow.
To participate in this sort of their groundbreaking program, 1 million Black women Black in Business program. And so I'm in cohort 9. So this has been going on for a little bit of a time now. So thank you so much. First of all, I need to go back. Thank you so much, of course, inviting me to be here. Live Well Sister. I just love that. And have been following you ever since you left in Michigan.
Right.
But just elated to and thrilled to be here with you this evening. And thanks so much again for having me and for the recognition and for living well. That's what we all need to be doing.
Absolutely. Well. Absolutely. And quiet as it's kept. Now, Brown Girl Collective has been around for 16, actually be 17 years this year, right?
Wow.
But my idea for Live Well Sister actually came when I was living in Michigan.
How about that? Really?
So it took me a while to figure out what it was going to look like. So actually, Live Well Sister is older than Brown Girl Collective in my thought process. But so there's that.
Well, I commend you, and I commend you for the entrepreneurial spirit and pursuit that you have. You've been relentless, and because it's hard out here for a pimp.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I've known you through many iterations of your career, even though we haven't been seeing each other. We pay attention to what one another is doing. So now I know, we both have since left Michigan, right? And you're back home in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like for you that returning home just really like exploded things for you. So let's just talk a little bit about your background and your career so people can know who you are.
Sure, sure, sure. So I try to want to put it in a capsule, but I left, born and raised here in Chicago, left to go away to the University of Michigan and in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And that's where my adult life began. And
Mhm.
so I spent 35 years in Michigan,
Wow.
35, very, life forming, adulting, the whole 9 and 10 yards of finding myself, at
Mhm.
least the first iteration
Right, right.
of who and who I am, and all of those things that came along with that, and finding Jesus, accepting him as Lord. That was significant, and obviously something that happened in Michigan, and
Mhm.
that's where we met at church,
Right.
and so that's sort of my journey in terms of the Michigan, and then moved back to Chicago. Did a 5-minute stint in Florida,
Oh, wow.
and moved here late 2020 during the pandemic.
Okay.
Moved home. Yep.
Wow. And that was when I transitioned from Savannah, Georgia to Atlanta. So we made
Uh,
that big move about the same time.
Same
So
time.
I find
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
pretty interesting that we were kind of doing some similar things in terms of moving and finding our home.
Yes.
When I first met you at church, and I think I came up to you and be like, "Hey, I'm Marcy." Da, 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 da. I don't even remember, but I definitely remember walking up to your office and just striking a conversation with you.
Yes, because I forget sometimes that I did work there.
Right, yes, because you worked at that church, and I,
Yes,
I
I
was hanging
did.
out volunteering, and I was like, hey, I just
Mhm.
started talking to you because I was always interested in you and the work that you were doing. So at that time, you were doing a lot of like PR, that type of work, PR and marketing and things like that for the
Yes.
church, and you had a lot of experience in doing that type of work. But it seems like you've transitioned. Oh, I mean, not that you don't do that stuff anymore, but you picked up some other things along the way.
Yes.
So I know,
Absolutely. Yes.
yeah. So I know for a lot of us as women, that happens, right? You might go to
Mhm.
school for one thing or have an interest in one thing, and because we are multidimensional and used to being multidimensional, we
Yes.
can kind of find other things. And just thinking even about the name of the book, "Found Her," finding me, kind of
Mhm.
plays into that.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, so I spent, I say that the 25 plus of those 35 years, again, sort of honing my skills as a marketing and branding professional.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've owned my own agency, solopreneur agency, since 2000. I was freelancing before that, but when I resigned position at church and then launched out there fully in the deep, and have had my agency since that time. And so this agency is still open. So I
Okay.
still do marketing,
Okay.
communications, and branding. Design has always been my niche,
Mhm.
helping people to, craft their image, helping them to strategize and what that means across everything that they're doing. So, image is everything. That was my original, I guess, mantra, if you will, of
Mhm.
helping people uh, to navigate what branding is, what marketing is. And so I'm still doing that, not as much. Kind of took
Right.
a little, I did a little shift, a little pivot,
Mhm.
and then opened the FoundHER Suite, which is a co-working women's not exclusively, because we have a few men on board.
Okay.
Women's co-working and shared office resource hub in Chicago, on the south side of Chicago, where there was absolutely nothing of its kind. When you think of Chicago, of course, you think of that everything is everything, and especially, of course, downtown in our loop, you
Mm.
can find all of those types of resources. But when you come into the neighborhoods, it's like a ghost town. So I established my business center in really the center of the South Side. So and it's been a ride, a
I
good
can
one.
imagine.
It's been a good ride. Yes.
Imagine. I can imagine. And
Mhm.
a mutual friend of ours, Pam Perry, was telling me that you just expanded and you got more space. Pam is another person who went to church with. I need to get Pam on here.
Yes, you
But
do.
but yes,
Absolutely.
she says you expanded recently.
So I've expanded in programming. So I have oh, Marcy, we don't have enough time to talk. So because there's so many things that actually have happened since the top of the year. And we've what day are we on? January 28th.
Right.
So in less than 30 days, so many things have happened. We had a car collision into our building on New Year's Day, very early morning of that day. So we have been not fully operational in
Gotcha.
our space. As a result, there's a whole lot of just uh, like that's a whole nother talk show. So,
Right. Right.
but just to say that in such a short period of time, in the top of the year, to sort of been impacted in a way that I was not, of course, planning to.
Mhm.
So sort of like you know having to do some shifting around as a
Mhm.
result of that. But I was already planning to uh, begin the nonprofit side of the suite. And so I birthed yet again another business, and
Nothing wrong
it's
with it.
called the Her There Collective.
Mhm.
And it's really it just made sense for me. I've always been very passionate about helping women, and obviously in particular, to elevate their entrepreneurship. What does that look like? What does that guiding them, and obviously from in terms of the branding and marketing perspective, but it has also been sort of eye opening for myself in
Mhm.
my own career journey, and also to the women that I come in contact with, who, yeah, they, like I said, they may need their branding, they may need help publishing their book, all of those, all of those things. But then the conversations are, okay, so what does my next look like? How do
Right.
I navigate where I am now to where I want to be? So those are the conversations that I've had in my entire career, and just felt like it was one thing to create the physical space,
Right.
but then to also then turn around and say, hey, how can I best help women to walk the enterprise
Right.
out? And
Yeah.
so, yes, so that's how her there collective came about.
And I love everything that you just said because Black women. I mean, Southside Chicago. I'm sure you're primarily dealing with Black women, primarily, probably. But just thinking about a lot of the stuff that we went through last year, where women were
Mhm.
losing their jobs and stuff like that, and even
Yes.
really starting with the pandemic, right about the time you
Mhm.
moved there, a
Yeah.
lot of us were making different decisions about how we wanted to work, where we wanted to work, and so I love that you have created something like this that can support people along the way, because we get so used to, in most of our careers, we are uplifting somebody
Oh,
else's
yes.
vision. We're helping to build somebody else's brand, but
Sure.
we don't think about what it really
Absolutely.
takes to do that for ourselves.
Indeed. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do. And as women, of course, we wear a thousand hats, and doing this, helping this person. And then, okay, so then introspection. Okay, so if I were to think about not necessarily about having any particular regrets about anything, but to be mindful of, am I where I want to be?
Mm-hmm.
Am I, um, who am I? Who am I? And I think there's different stages, obviously, in your life, that you, if you haven't asked yourself that question, that you should ask yourself that question.
Exactly. Exactly.
At every, I think, generationally, every 10 years, you should be asking yourself, okay, so I'm 30.
Mm-hmm.
What should I be doing at 30?
Right.
Am I doing, look at just being, again, the introspection, being, not to say you need to necessarily make a change, but just where you are on that path to where you're going, or walking out, and these are, of course, terms that, if you are a faith person,
Mm-hmm.
what is your destiny call? What is your purpose? Are you walking out your purpose? Do you know what your purpose is? Do you
Mm-hmm.
have you done that homework?
Right.
And there's certain, like, guideposts, and there are certain years that just becomes even more important and intentional. So
Mm-hmm.
30, okay. 40, 50,
Mm-hmm.
hmm, uh, 60.
Mm-hmm.
This is my diamond jubilee. So I turned 60 in October.
Okay, I'm in September.
So, so okay, it's like, um, we know how to be young.
Mm-hmm.
We do not know how to be old.
Mm.
So we don't know. So as we age, so the biological stuff, the physical things, but that doesn't necessarily apply to your mind. Your mind, as long as you are fully uh fully functioning in terms of your mind, it never stops growing.
It never stops. Yeah, we
It
were talking about that before we
continues
came
to
on.
learn.
So I'm like, I'm always shooting Chat GPT. Well, what if I do this? And what if I do that? What if I do this? And what if I so because the brain is going, and that is just a tool that I use to help me kind of, kind of rein it in and like, okay, this is what you
Absolutely.
said, and this is what this means.
Right.
Yeah, it
Exactly.
hasn't stopped.
Yeah. Your,
Not at
your your
all.
mind never. I mean, I could wake up in the middle of the night, and I will get downloads about whatever. It could be what I'm working on. It could be on something that a totally different topic, totally different. And
Hmm.
then I have to stop and say, I need to get up and write this down.
Right.
I may not necessarily do anything with it now, and it may not necessarily have been for me. It might be for
Hmm.
someone that someone's going to cross my path, and
Right.
I could tell you how many times that has happened. Like, I thought about that, but that's why I thought about that, or that's why God gave me that idea, is to then share it with that person that's their real,
That's the thing.
the real thing, right? Yeah.
Right. Well, we did have a question. Like, are you at liberty to name any of the brands you helped establish, and is branding a lengthy process? That's a good question.
So, oh my goodness. So, I guess in my branding life, marketing life, I've been on the corporate side, both the academic corporate side as well as corporate. So I've worked with individuals as well as corporate entities. So the big three I've worked with, providing brand concepts, from event collaterals, a lot of event collaterals,
Mm,
for over the years, for on the corporate side. And then if I go to ministry corporate side, so I served as Marcy, as you mentioned, when she and I met, I was serving as director of creatives and services and marketing for a large church there in Michigan, in the Detroit area. And so working with many pastors. I mean, I've worked with some generals of the faith,
Mm-hmm.
and help them uh, uh, with their with all kinds of things, projects, books, ministry work. Uh, it's without saying any names, but definitely have been an assist to them in their ministry. I still continue to do that as much as I possibly can. Um, the I've worked with so many subject matter experts, so
Okay.
people who have spent their careers in whatever. It could be human resources, it could be uh, um, healthcare, have different facets of healthcare. Um, oh my goodness,
It's a
mm,
lot.
it's a lot. Engineers.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, God has definitely allowed me to, as I say, as an assist to their efforts to brand themselves, and to take their businesses, their products, their services to that, whatever that next level was at the time. And so, and I continue to do that
Thank
even
you for
now.
that. 'Cause, yeah, I didn't realize you did all of those different things as well. The other part of that question was is branding a lengthy process, and I guess it just really depends. Yeah, depends.
It's not that it's a lengthy process, but I consider a very strategic process. Because when you think about, let's just, even if you just off the cuff say, one of the long standing brands, of course, the big three, any of the automakers are
Mhm.
long standing brands. And
Right.
so, uh, what it takes to be that brand. And even if you were to look at, someone who everybody knows is Oprah. Oprah has, from the
Mhm.
rudder to the tutta,
Right.
branded herself
Right.
in such a way, in all efforts, in all ways. She's print, she's news, she's film, she's uh, uh, philanthropic. She's, of course, still very much an influencer,
Mhm.
even though that's not necessarily what that was not her initial intention
Right.
in terms
Right.
of her career. So, been very strategic in how she has branded herself. And so, having a team of people in her case, but even, don't despise small beginnings, because
Right.
you can, there's some things that you can do yourself.
Right.
And then there are those of us who can, again, assist you in that process. So, like, I have an assessment that I take all of my, particularly new clients through,
Mhm.
to determine, who are you?
Right.
Just ask that question. It's not about what you've been doing for 20 plus years. That's some of it.
Right.
Who are you, and who do you think you are, and what is your purpose in this world? What do you believe that? And then taking that and creating the brand,
I
if you,
love that. I
yeah.
love that, and I like the fact that you said that. And then I want to talk about the book, because some of these things are actually talked about in the context of the book, in terms of figuring out who you are and all those sorts of things. But I love that you did say that about the fact that you are a brand, because I can't remember who it was, but years ago I heard somebody talk about that. I'm like, yeah, you might have a
Probably
business.
Pam Perry.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Our buddy Pam Perry, because she's
Yes,
Pam Perry PR. That's what she does.
yes.
But it's like understanding it. Like, for example, y'all who are here, it's Brown Girl Collective. That's the
Mhm.
brand. But Marcy Thomas is also a brand,
Mhm.
right? And
Absolutely.
in full disclosure, that's why Pam Perry is fussing at me because she's like, we know Brown Girl Collective. We need to know Marcy Thomas.
Yes.
So, that's something that I'm really thinking about because in the almost 17 years of Brown Girl Collective being in existence, for example, I've only really been doing stuff like this where I'm face to face for like the last 6 of all of those years. So for a long
Wow.
time, it was like a faceless brand. So now
Mhm.
I am working in that regard. So yeah, it can be the work or the business, or even if you're at a job, you still have a personal brand, even if you're working for somebody else in a corporate environment. So yeah, that stuff is deep, and like people like LaTanya can definitely help you flesh stuff like that out. So
Yeah,
thank you for those questions. But
absolutely.
I want to talk about this book because it's small but it's mighty. Isn't there a quote or something about like she's small but she's mighty? So
But
it's
she
not,
might.
but
So,
it's not
so
real thick, but it's mighty in the content that's in it.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And so, for anyone out there that's writing a book, this is a testament to the fact that you don't have to have a lot of pages to have a lot to say.
Right. Oh yes, it's very
Um,
yeah, it's very rich in its content.
and everything, the book came, I got a copy too. The book came about as a result of me opening the suite.
Mm-hmm.
The name of the suite is the FoundHER Suite. And so in that process, I had a lot of epiphanies. I had a lot of uh, just revelation of um, what the things that have happened in my life. So I kind of considered the book like my manifesto, not a biography, but
Mm-hmm.
just what I discovered about
Right.
myself, and then how basically how I've helped so many people in over the years, in terms of, again, their branding and their marketing, but in doing that, I did a lot of behind the scenes. So I've always been a behind the scenes person.
Mm-hmm.
There
Mm-hmm.
are people that I've done work for, unless I say it, they're like, "You did that?" Like, yeah, I did that. Because and it's not about so some of it is humility, of course. So I'm a humble person, and so I'm definitely not going to um be braggadocious about who I've done work for. But
Right.
by the same token, I always felt safe there.
Mm-hmm.
That I didn't, to your point, Marcy, about a faceless brand. So I'm the faceless brand to me, but not for other people. So I'm
Right.
doing all the work behind the scenes for others, all good. Nothing negative about that. But then I had, in this process of opening up the suite, I had, God on my, telling me, well, what about you?
What about
The
you?
type of work that I gave you to do,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
specifically for you. Yes, notwithstanding the work and how I've assisted others, but then at one point in time, are you going to activate what I gave you to do?
Mm-hmm. That is so good. That
And
is
so I had been sitting on, the founder seat was a 30-year dream.
wow. Wow.
Before there was collaborative and co-working, those weren't words. That's the last 10-year words. That's this last 10 years, those terms and the talk around co-working, which now is $1 trillion business,
Mm.
which 30 years ago, no co-working, it was called shared office space, and shared office space was a new concept.
Right.
And was made aware of someone doing it, and I wanted to do it. Did my sort of pre legwork in terms of setting up a shared office space, but I didn't have support. I didn't have support from my family.
Mm-hmm.
My husband at the time, he said I had too many irons in the fire as it was.
Like, why are you trying to do something else?
How you want to come out? And freelancing has started my freelance side of my branding and marketing business. And so I was like, well, maybe that isn't it. And so I put it out there, when you do workshops and things, you say, well, I'm gonna put this out in the parking lot. So I put it out in the parking lot. So it had been sitting in the parking lot for a long
Wow.
time.
Yeah.
And when I started doing this introspection again and just kind of looking at, back over my life, the Lord reminded me, what about that idea I gave you 30 years ago?
I know it. Yeah, I'm smiling so big. Number one, because it's you. Number two, because I resemble that remark. Like certain things that I knew for a long time and was going in a totally different direction, and but saying, hey, there's this thing, and how do I figure out how to make my way back to it? But this book starts out talking about owning the fact that you are a queen.
Mm.
And that really stood out to me, LaTanya, because I mean, a lot of people throw it around. I'm a queen, I'm a boss, I'm a this, I'm a that. But are they just words, or do you really believe that?
I had a hard time. People would call me queen, and I would say, she's just a girl and she's on fire.
Hey,
Hold on.
that's perfect.
I didn't mean
We know what you were listening to.
girl. So
It was appropriate though.
I guess it was. I got a little whatever distraction there, but a good distraction. I hit a button. So I had a hard time people calling me queen. If somebody would say, queen, just queen. Oh, Queen LaTanya, queen. And I was like, that's just too much. So then I began to think about that. Like, why is it too much?
That part.
Why is it too much? We are queens. The Lord said that we are royal diadems. That we we're daughters of the Most High God. And so when I began to sort of think that through, what came to me in that introspection, was that I guess I felt I didn't feel worthy of that. That it was not that one, I didn't feel worthy, and then also feeling that again, not owning my own amazing.
Own your amazing. Y'all write that down. Own your own amazing.
And that actually, I could attribute that to a very good friend of mine, one of my Detroit sisters, who started a whole movement about owning your own amazing. And so, but yeah, just I had because I've been behind the scenes doing the work. To then, okay, so then when I come out here out front, I don't want that. I didn't want that attention.
Yeah, and as you're saying that, I mean, I think a lot of us struggle with that, and thinking about where. Well, that's a whole nother. That's a therapy session. But like, where does that stem from? Why do we hold on to that? Thinking, because I mean, yeah, there's a lot behind that would make us think that we can't own our own amazing, that to do so, that we're being bragging, being braggadocious, as she said earlier, or that we're not being humble enough, or just so many things that get tied to that. And I think that, and this is also covered in your book, I think sometimes that comes because we have no idea of what's possible. Or somebody's told us what isn't possible. So we're thinking, oh, well, being this, that, or the other isn't possible for me. I can't have a 6-figure business or $1 million business, or, a certain type of home, or whatever it is that you desire, that those things, you feel like those things aren't possible. But being able to move into another space where you realize that moving from what's impossible to what actually is possible for you.
Yes, absolutely. And it took me, so that was the sort of the precipice, the starting point for the book.
Mm-hmm.
to have my own personal dialogue with myself about being called queen and what it really means in the eyes of God, that how He's made His daughters, and that we are queens,
Mm-hmm.
and we are from royal, lineage, and so it's like own it. Everybody tells you to be, to be the boss lady, uh,
Mm-hmm.
be the diva, but I'd much rather be called a
Queen.
queen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. So now this book, it works through it works through several terms. Let me look at it at the front so I can make sure I'm saying it right. It's basically like 8 different chapters, and we are working through like a lot of different ways to like walk into this. So it's basically to be crowned for impact, which is
Yeah.
where we ultimately land. But in that, it starts with confidence. We actually kind of talked about that a little bit. Like, what does your confidence look like?
But and yeah, and that goes back to being called a queen and owning that you in order to be a queen, when you think of Queen Esther, when you think of women who in the Bible who Deborah, they were all very confident women. The
Mm-hmm.
Proverbs 31 woman, she was the epitome of confidence. Not to say that she thought of her more highly than she ought to.
Right.
There's a difference.
There is a
But that
difference.
she was a confident in her abilities, in her skills, her talents, what the Lord had given her, very purposeful, diligent with her hands, uh, you know, all the things that a Proverbs 31 woman is. And so when we pitch ourselves up against those
Yeah, that
characteristics,
now they're talking about possibility. That seems impossible.
that seems impossible. But then if you actually went down each one, you could identify where you rose to that occasion at each point. It
Mm-hmm.
might not be something that you do on a regular, but there have been instances, most of us have had instances where we have experienced it, we've been witness to, or we were the catalyst, or we were the person to make that happen in that instance. And so own that,
Mm-hmm.
going back to just owning who you are. And so yeah, that's what uh the so I have a framework, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
that I walk through in the book, and it's an acronym, crowned,
Right.
and each of the chapters are based on the acronym. So confidence,
Is one.
resilience,
Right.
ownership, worth, navigation, um what was it, endurance, and I can't remember what the E is right
I
now.
got it. I wrote it down. Where is it? Empowerment.
Empowerment, I'm sorry, empowerment, and
Destiny.
destiny, and then I for impact.
Yes. Yes, what Jean is
Mhm.
saying. I like, what does your confidence look like, because it stresses our individuality. Yeah, and that's so true, because what's confident to me and what's confident to you can be two totally different things. But then I wrote down like a little blurb, just something that stood out to me in each one of these chapters. And we might go a little bit over, LaTanya, so forgive
Mm,
me
all right.
right now. But it's talking about be a doer. And what's
Mm,
the saying? Don't just talk about it, be about it.
be about it. Be
Yeah,
about it.
do it.
Yeah, I had my own personal encounter with Gloria Copeland,
Mhm.
and she had come to church. She was visiting, and actually I went up to greet her, and well, she had preached about. She had written a book about this, but she had preached about that we're to do. It's like you hear and do,
Mhm.
and we're to hear it, but then we are to do it. And
Mhm.
so what we tend to do, though, is that we hear it and do nothing,
Right.
and then you wonder why you have the same results.
Come on now. You hear it and you analyze it to death, and
Mhm.
you never take
I
action.
mean, we beat it. We beat it down. We have every reason why we shouldn't, or we can't, or whatever, whatever the excuses are. And then we resign ourselves that we can't do it
Right, right.
when all we did was self-sabotage. We just got in our own way, and we
Mm.
do it on a black women. I
And
mean,
that
all
struck a
women.
chord. Yeah, that is. I mean, because trust me, yes, that's for all of us. Yeah,
Yes.
like beat the dead horse. And here's the thing, because one thing I know, and I've heard it said in many a church, and I believe it to be true, that if you get that download and you know you're supposed to move on that download and you beat the dead horse and you do all those things, ultimately somebody else gonna get that same download.
So God goes, the word says he goes to and fro. So he's gonna look your way, because the gifts and callings of God are without repentance. So he might have gave you something to do and you not doing it. Well, I'm gonna go to my next daughter, son, and see if they will do it. He didn't take it away from you.
Right.
But he wants to make this movement, moving forward, press toward the prize of the high calling in Christ Jesus. So it's all about movement forward.
Movement. Mm-hmm.
And if he might have gave you, so not to say he doesn't take it away, but he has an agenda about what he's doing in the earth, and he's empowered us with his word. And then if we get the word and we do nothing with it, okay, well, I'm next.
Right. Next. And that it's not just about, church things or whatever. It could be that business that you're supposed to start to feed the people in the community, or, hey, it could be me doing what I'm doing here, giving women a platform to be able to come on and tell their stories and,
Indeed.
and be empowering to others. It could be a lot of different things that you're
Sure.
just sitting on. And also realizing, then I'm gonna move on, but this is just in my head. Even if somebody else does something that looks like what you're thinking about, there's something special that you bring to the table that other person can't bring.
I say, uh, you know, um, it's a saying, uh, what God has for you is for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, we all could be doing similar things, but what he gave you to do is specific to what he gave you to do. And
Mm.
so there's no longer competition.
Right. Right.
No longer competition. I'm not in competition with you. If anything, there should be some alignment.
Yes. Yes.
But oftentimes it's, me, and me, and not we, and we. And it should be a lot more we, and we. How can we work together collaboratively,
Absolutely.
to expand kingdom business?
Absolutely. Hey, from Metro Detroit. Hey.
He said, "Hey, Angela Cohen."
Oh,
I said,
Angela.
"Oh my goodness."
All right. So we talk about resilience in the next section. Like what tried to break you, built you. I love that. What
Mhm.
tried to break you, built you.
Yeah, it really leaves no other explanation.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so good. And just really, and sometimes it's not easy to deal with that when it first happens, because you're in your feelings because something tried to break you. But sometimes when you step back away from it a little bit, or meditate on it, pray on it, whatever, then you do that and you can realize,
Mm.
hmm.
What can I learn from this experience? And so that's pretty. I think for me, that really was born out of being a widow.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so Having had that experience, that's a lived experience that I
Yes.
watched play out
Mm,
right in front of me.
right.
And so yeah, it on so many levels
Mm-hmm.
tried to break me. um and I had, but at the end of the day, it was about, again, um moving forward.
Moving forward. Moving forward.
The living lives.
Right. The living lives. I love that.
Living lives.
I love that.
Mhm.
The O in crowned is ownership, owning the power of your becoming.
Yeah, yeah. So finding you. Who are you? Have you asked yourself that today in the mirror? Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who are you?
Right.
Who am I today? I might be I might be this person today. I might, again, kind of goes back to wearing the hats. I got a hat on today.
Yeah, so it's perfect.
This is really not me. There's a story behind that. It's another talk show. But anyway, so, but yeah, just wearing what hat, or, not to say that you're about it, that you are your hats, but that's what, the many, I don't say personalities, but the many hats that we wear,
Mm,
especially as women, we're okay. What hat am I wearing today? What's going to be the primary hat today?
mm-hmm,
And then
mm-hmm.
how am I showing up?
How am I
Am I
showing?
showing up? I'm mad about something. Am I not going to smile today because why I'm not going to smile today? Um, you know, again, this being very intentional, and turn looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, okay, so who am I, and then who am I going to be today?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's so good. And understanding the we contain multitudes, so it's not always going to look the same, right?
Mhm.
It's not always going to look the same, and that's okay that it doesn't always look the same.
Doesn't always
As
look that
long as
same.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, just like we talked about, this whole, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. It is not. I've been doing this 30 years now. And so I think I mentioned, I always follow that line from Hustle and Flow. It's hard out here for a pimp. We are hustling, legitimately hustling,
mm-hmm,
uh, to to um, to make it do what it do,
right,
and um, to be about the business. But then we got to have fun. There's got to be some joy in it.
absolutely, absolutely. This next section I really loved, and that's the W, which is worth. Don't
Mm-hmm.
die in your winter, girl.
Mm-hmm. So that was so Sir Millicent Hunter, Pastor Millicent Hunter wrote a book about that. But that was also a ministry message at our church.
Mm-hmm,
And that message stuck with me, forever. I'm forever, number of years. And it's like, yeah, don't die in your winter. God created seasons for a reason.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so your winter season is prepares you for your spring season.
Yes,
And
yes,
so to realize that, this might feel like it's especially, we're in winter for real, in
for
really
real,
right
for
now.
real, right?
So that, it's cold, and I'm shivering, and all I want to do is stay in the house, and all of that comes with the with the season. But that might be okay, because that's the time that you can use to prepare for spring, for the summer seasons,
Mm-hmm,
for those particular seasons in your life, that you need time to prepare.
right.
you know Take that time. If you're not busy right now, it's okay. If you're not busy right now, go back and do some introspection and say, okay, what could I be doing now to prepare me for my next
The next season.
season?
And I think that's one of the things about, and I mean, some of y'all probably already realize this, but that's one of the thing about, the calendar that we use. I want to say it's the Gregorian calendar. I think that's what it's called. But, the new year starts in January,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
so everybody's like, oh, let me get to the gym. Let me change my diet. Let me start saving this money. Let me start doing blah, blah, blah. But really, winter is a time that we should be like kind of resting and being rejuvenated and figuring some things out, like the bears are hibernating right now. They're not thinking about the next thing to do.
no,
But the springtime really is a good time to launch new ideas because
right.
we're it's not dark every day, and you're not hibernating as much. So I say that for everybody who maybe didn't, went to the gym 2 days and quit. It's okay because you're supposed to be kind of chilling and and doing what winter is supposed to be anyway. You're
Right.
supposed to be focused on that.
Yeah, and give yourself some grace.
Yes,
We don't give ourselves grace enough.
we don't.
You got this to-do list of things, all these tasks. And those tasks, if the ones you didn't get done today, they'll be there tomorrow.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
So so rest in that. If you feel like you need a nap, go take the nap.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Next is navigation, going from aimless to aligned.
Mhm.
And a lot of that is about goals. And you talk about goals in that section and unveiling your destiny.
Yeah. We get off track. We can easily get off track. And again, give yourself some grace if you do. To then be purposeful about what does that mean for you, in terms of navigating whatever process, if it's a process, if it's your what your next career move is, what your next, if it's entrepreneurial or a professional career. Just again, the seasons, just coming to terms with yourself, so that whole the becoming, so that you can walk it out purposefully, and that you have a full understanding of where you're supposed to be.
Right.
You know.
What I really love about that is like the aimless to aligned really stands out to me
Hmm.
because a lot of times, in our lives, we can be kind of wandering around aimlessly, so to speak.
Hmm. Hmm.
And whether it's the relationships that we're in, I mean all kinds of stuff, or it could just be aimless, but like really like going into that space of introspection rather,
Yeah,
and figuring out okay, is this keeping me off of where I'm supposed to be? Is this helping me reach my destiny, or is it taking me off course? And what are the things that I can do to help me be more aligned with what
sure.
it is that I'm supposed to be doing in my life?
Hmm. Yeah, like I said, we get off course sometimes, and again, being mindful of that. So, how did I get off course? How did I end up in this space? Um, and how do I now change course? Find my go back on the path that I feel by my feel that being led by, and what's peace in my spirit about.
Mm-hmm.
We do this, it's just part of who, as being human. I hate to admit that, but the part of that is the spirit, the natural nature of us to get persuaded this way, persuaded that way, or distracted this way, and then so how do we uh, not be distracted?
Right, right.
How do we turn those things off?
Hmm. I have a quick question though, because I know that you do a lot of coaching with people, with women, a lot of people don't have any idea of what like a destiny is for themselves, or a purpose, or a
Mhm.
vision. I know that could be a whole different conversation. But just what, if anything, do you share with or encourage people to do who might be struggling with even figuring out what that is?
So I think a lot of it is just again sort of that taking that winter season if you can, and that winter season doesn't have to be winter truly. It could just be where you're feeling, uh, uh, sort of just off, like this is just not working, and to continue to do things sort of by rote memorization. I do this. I have this routine. This is what I do every day. But if it's not bringing you joy and you have really no peace about it, then perhaps you should consider what you should be doing. And it doesn't really take a lot. And even if you're journaling it, when I was going through my widowhood, it was writing it almost every day, my
Mhm.
thoughts, how I felt, which then led to some things,
Mhm.
and just being directed in a way that that moves you from here to there,
Yes.
that you're actually um, at least intentional about walking it out.
Hmm.
And at some point, you will have an aha.
Right. Right.
You will have that check in your spirit that this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Wait a minute.
Right.
Right.
What? I mean, yeah, you will have that epiphany. You will have that aha moment.
Hmm.
And usually, uh, I know for a fact that the Lord has confirmed His word over and over and over. He will do it through somebody that's a stranger. He could do it through a message. You could be just sitting
Hmm.
watching, and all of a sudden, "Oh,
Hmm.
okay, you will have that moment that will confirm to you what He probably told you.
Right.
You may not even have recognized the voice at the time, but it will come back in your remembrance. And
Mm.
so when it does that, that's that check, and that will be like that's your aha moment. That's when you know that you may not have, because He's not going to reveal everything to you, but at least He will that will point you in the direction that you should be going.
Yeah, I love that. Because, yeah, I'm getting confirmation about stuff all the time, y'all.
Oh,
All the time. It's like, I'll be thinking about something, and then it might be something somebody posted on IG, or, I'll turn on the TV and Taryn Hall will be talking about it.
right,
It's just like,
right. Yeah, He's going to confirm His
it
word.
comes up all kinds of
He
ways.
is going to come. Yeah, He is definitely going to come. It's out of the mouths of two or three witnesses that every word be
Right,
established. He is going to confirm His word to you, even if you don't really understand it.
right, right.
Uh, but it will be these checks, or this person will say something, and it doesn't have to be like you said earlier. It doesn't have to be a church person. It don't have to be a minister or a pastor that says something.
Mhm.
It could just be like, how did you know? How did you know that that's what I was thinking about? How did you know
Right.
that's where I was? It could be obviously it could be a family member or a friend, or it
Mhm.
could be a complete stranger. It could be somebody on your job that just so happens to say something to you, and like,
Mhm.
and that
Mhm.
feeling when and it's not a feeling, but that like, wow, how did they
How do they
know?
know that? Yeah, that's something there.
Yeah.
So we talk about the E in crowned is empowerment, and one of the things in there is to have the courage to create.
Courage to create. Yes. So as a creative, I'm a creative. And so I was encouraged to create as a kid. And so, I mean, I love my paint by numbers. I did crochet, I did embroidery. So I
Mhm.
was crafting. I was a crafting chick, and which helped to hone my skills in terms of the design,
Mhm.
being in graphics. And so having that, uh, to, I don't know which right, I think it's the right brain, to have, to be creative, to think
Mhm.
outside the box, think,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know, just try to, think, don't think logically all the time. Think like,
Right.
okay, so where where is where is this artistically? Where is this
Mhm.
music? Music will definitely help you to walk, certain things out that you've been thinking about.
But yeah, I love that, having the courage, because some people don't have the courage
To
to create something new or something different. Or
Mhm.
we talked about a little bit earlier how, yeah, two people can be doing something similar, but there's that little bit of creativity that you bring to the table that can make a world of difference in how it looks when you present it versus what it looks like when somebody else presents it. But I think a lot of times, because people are on social media a lot and
Yeah.
just following what they see everybody else doing, instead of like really having the courage to create and, like, be the trendsetter, not the
Be
trend
the
follower.
Yeah, yeah, right, right. Be the trendsetter. Be the trailblazer. Be the, be who you are,
Mhm.
and just be willing to, to be brave,
Right.
and it's okay to take risks. I've taken so many risks. I've moved this place, I've moved that place. You know, somebody told me I need to write a book on moving because I've moved so many times in my life.
Same. Same.
Girl, like,
Right.
time you need to write a book on moving. Just the whole, just everything about the 101 on moving, because there are a lot of people that haven't moved. So
Right.
I just say that to say that there are, just opportunities for you to do something different. God said He would give us witty inventions.
Mhm.
And those things will impact, and He gives us ideas all the time,
Oh,
like, we wake up in the middle of the night and got an idea. That's but then having the courage to
right.
take it the next step.
Right. And to go backtrack a little bit, not beat the dead horse. Because I've been seeing a lot of people talk about that now. How sometimes you got to do it, and it's got to be a little messy. It's got to be a little, there
But do
might
it
be a
afraid.
typo.
Listen, they
You might
say do it,
have, yeah, crazy background behind
do it
you.
afraid. Yeah, do it
Right.
afraid. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It might not look how it's going to look in the long run, but at least you got started. So we
yeah.
got a couple more that I'm gonna let y'all go. Up next is Destiny.
Mm,
And what I really like in this particular section, you talk about a revival of vision.
yeah,
Because I feel like a lot of times we might have had a vision, but it got lost somewhere along the way. But being able to
mhm,
revive it, I love that
yeah.
concept.
Yeah, I mean, again, we status quo. We just go through life, doing the same things, the same routine, same, um, going. I mean, there are things that are, this that we just do, and then it's like, okay, so somebody might say, "Well, what? Can you join me?" And you like, "Oh my God, that's gonna go outside of my comfort zone. That's gonna go, really? No, I don't know that I can do that."
Mm-hmm.
Um, and take the risk. I'm not saying go jump off a cliff.
No.
That's another.
Unless you want to do that, make sure you got the right equipment. But
Right,
yeah.
you have the right equipment, but to take take a risk, take
Mm-hmm.
a chance. Not nothing, but with God is a chance. It's nothing. It's always by design. It's always by, a divine appointment, if you will. So if you, what do you have to lose if you've been doing the same things and getting the same results, and then lamenting about that, always, that's your constant complaint. And you
Mm,
done told everybody, you
mhm,
done complained to everybody, and then
mhm,
but on the flip side of saying, oh no, but I ain't complaining. Yes, you are.
mhm.
So what are you gonna do differently to get
Right.
different results?
Absolutely.
What are you gonna do?
Absolutely. Ooh, because that's something, ooh, that's a pet peeve of mine. Like complaining about the same situation over and over and over and over and over and over ad nauseum, but then nothing is ever done to think about, well, what can I do differently?
What can I
And
do?
sometimes it's just one little teeny tiny thing can make
It
a
could
world
be,
of
yeah, it
difference.
doesn't, always have to be, don't, it doesn't always have to be this big thing. It could be something so simple, and easy. Look for the easy things first anyway. That's,
Mhm.
what can I do, that's simple, it's non-invasive, it's not gonna
Mhm.
hurt me, it's not gonna hurt my family members. What can I do that, is a simple change to make a difference?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And making a difference, and that leads right into the last piece that we talk about. And just to mind you all, I know we've been talking about some of the concepts that are in the book, but in the book there are like questions you can ask yourself and like really think through these things, write it down, get your journal out, use it during your prayer, meditation time, whatever the case may be, to like really find yourself and
Mhm.
figure out your next step. But the last one that we talk about is impact, called to influence, created to reign. So it
Mhm.
circles back. We were talking about being a queen, right? So it
Mhm.
kind of circles back, like we were created to reign and we were called to be an influence.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we sure are, in our own respective areas of influence. Our sphere of, our tardy piece or chasm of the universe that we have.
Mhm.
We've been called to impact. Lord said that we're supposed to go and spread the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. That's one piece of that, but it's also what, we've been made ambassadors. So we've been given whatever that purpose is or that destiny call is. And how are we to, how are we impacting?
Right.
And again, we're not talking about necessarily ministry, but we're talking about whatever that role or the, uh, the purpose that you have identified once sort of done this introspection and and sought counsel, someone to help you to flesh it out. Okay, so you find that, then what next? What's next?
Yeah.
And then that's your impact. What you do next is how you impact your piece of the world
Right. And I
for
love that you said
for the greater.
for the greater good.
Yeah, right.
And I love that you say it's not just necessarily about, a ministry, or not even necessarily about, owning a business or being an entrepreneur. We all have the ability to have an impact in the lives of our families. I mean,
Yeah.
because think about, and this is actually, y'all know, well, some of y'all know, if you watch me regularly, you know that I talk to a lot, I talk about a lot of fiction books with,
Mm.
I interview fiction authors. And one of the things that, ooh, it came and it went, like it needed to come back. The thought came and went. But just talking about the idea. Oh, I know what it was. The book we were talking about on Monday, it was a situation where there was things that were happening in a family, right? And one
Mhm.
person decided to make a different choice in how they were going to live. So it might not even be that, oh, I'm doing something in ministry or I have a certain business or whatever the case may be. It could be that you just decide to live your life a little bit differently than maybe people have lived it before, and that that breaks a generational curse, and that has an impact on your family and the future of your family. So even though a lot of the things in the book are talking about business and entrepreneurship, it really is about life.
It's about life. It's about our work life, however you want to, say it. But it's multidimensional. I mean, I think again, it can it encompasses or talks about everything. You know, it can apply to anything that you're going through,
Mm,
um, or
mm,
what you're endeavoring to do. And it doesn't, again, it doesn't have to be business or ministry. It could be something that's going on in your family. It could be uh, uh, it could just be you. If you the family, if it's something that you need to do. We're always talking about, what we need to do in terms of our own self-care. Well, what
right.
does that look? What does that look like for you? My self-care might look different than what your self-care is, and there's no right or wrong, but that you acknowledge and you put your best foot forward, and to have a different result.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do something different so that you can say, and then there's those small wins, that nobody actually needs to know about.
Yeah, that's true. Because a lot of it is the book is does say found her finding me. A lot of
And
it is centering how
it's
you're
me,
finding yourself.
right? I think yeah, you can't. I feel like you have to find yourself in order to become,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and so they're one in one. They're hand in hand.
Absolutely.
They work together.
Mm-hmm.
You find yourself, then you become.
You become
You
yes.
become, and then you are able to then um, arrive. We say, well,
Like she is here.
yeah.
She has arrived. I
Mhm.
love that. I love that. This is so good, LaTanya. I appreciate you so much in coming to talk about your book, to talk about the work that you're doing with the Founders Suite, all of the programs that you're setting up to support women in business and branding and all of those things. And, of course, your work as a coach and your book. So you're just doing so many awesome, wonderful things. And I am so happy for you, proud of you that you're doing all of these things and that well again, so we don't get into a whole different conversation that you were able to, go home and find the things that you needed and going back home and add something to the community that you always loved. So I really can appreciate that.
Yeah, and I, if you had asked me when I graduated from college, I have several of my classmates say, "Don't you moving back home? You going back to Chicago?" I was like, "I'm not moving back there." I
Mhm.
was determined. I was determined that I was not going to come back home. That I was not going to be make my life in Chicago. Now, the rationale for that, I don't remember. I can think of some things, um, but that this was not, Shy was not the uh, going to be the place that I was going to arrive, if you will.
I love Chicago. I don't think I told you. I
Wait,
lived in the area for about 8 months. Yeah, I loved it there. It's just too cold. So if you could take Chicago and put it like in
girl,
Georgia.
in the last couple of days, listen, I went out. I went out Monday. Was it Monday? I had a meeting Monday, and I own a couple, and I was trying not to wear it because it was. I just, I'm gonna put my coat on. Girl, I froze to death. I
Mm,
said, if I had put my coat on, I would not have been cold. So
mm-hmm.
it was cold. It was seriously cold the last 4 or 5 days. It's pushed the envelope.
Yes, yes, I definitely
So I
understand
understand.
that. Well, are there any things I know you run a lot of programs and things like that. I know you're in the process of, doing things in terms of getting the suite back in order. But are
Yes.
there any like upcoming programs or events or anything that are coming up that people might be in Chicago and maybe even beyond might be able to tap into?
Well, I just say, hey, you've been scrolling across here. Please join me to subscribe to our website. We will be giving updates periodically about the status of where we are, what we're doing, where we're going to be, And a lot of it is still up in the air, but we're open and welcome all kinds of conversations. Just people just have questions about the suite, about what we're doing, what our what's on the horizon, if you will. I say those who are here in the Chicagoland area, who are acquainted with with the Founder Suite, that just stay tuned. Just stay tuned. Keep us in your prayers. That
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely keep good thoughts and prayers our way as we navigate this process and being in the right space, right place, right space, at the right time, doing things decently and in order, all of that. And so, yeah, I definitely would welcome prayer. And in terms of so just if you in touch, you can get in touch and by the scrolling across the screen there
Yes.
and reach out. I'd love to hear from anyone, everyone.
I love that. Now, I do have a quick follow-up question to that. I know
Mhm.
there's the suite, and of course, that's in Chicago, and that's for people who are in the area. With some of
Yes,
the other things that you're doing, like with the nonprofit and the coaching, are they open, broader?
yes,
Okay.
yes. Actually, I've got some upcoming programming that we're doing virtually. So if you go to the her there .com, I've got a strategic activation labs, two sessions, same session, just doing it on two dates. Here in February already. It's February, so next Monday night, as well as the 16th of February. Would love to have you. It's a free session that I'm offering. I'm all about vision boards. I love vision. I've been doing vision boards, as many of you all have,
Mhm.
all I say almost all my life. But it's the whole activation of it, and so that's what this lab is about. It's about taking your vision and putting some feet to it. Let's say
Mhm.
let's
I love that.
activate. Some of course, vision is the manifestation of that, and that's good manifesting. But then some of those things that you have on your vision board need to be activated. There needs to be execution,
Mhm.
so that they don't be on your vision board the next year.
Mhm.
Um, so it's like don't let any grass grow under your feet and and as you're talking about your vision for your life or your vision for this year, what can you activate? What can you put in motion so that again you have some different results this year?
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, because
So,
you can have a real pretty board that just sits there and nothing ever happens. So, yeah,
mm,
I like the idea that you're helping people to like, okay, let's activate this. Not let's
activate.
don't just create it, activate it.
Yes.
Well, Tanya, thank you so much for being here with us. Hopefully this is the first time, and there'll be other times in the future that you can come back and chat with us about the things that you have going on. Had a variety of people popping in, popping out, and of course the video is available for people to watch immediately. So, if you miss some and you want to go back and start from the beginning or whatever the case may be, it's definitely possible to do that. So,
Yes.
thank you again. I know we went over, but thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of it. Thank you to everyone who's here.
You.
Look on the Brown Girl Collective Facebook and IG for information about the people that are coming next week. But just as kind of I'm just going to tell you because I don't have the book in front of me. But the young lady Beatrice Dixon talking about business, she is the founder of the Honey Pot, and she wrote a book that just came out yesterday, right? And she will be here next week to talk about her journey as an entrepreneur and how she founded the Honey Pot and all that sort of thing. So it's
Oh
like the
wow.
next one is going to build a little bit on some of the things that we've talked about here in her journey. So look for that next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's all I got. If you could hold on for me, don't hang up yet, LaTanya, and I'm just going to bid everybody else adieu. So I'll let you grab some water and then I'll go ahead and close out. So see you in a second.
Okay.
All right. So yes, again, thank you to everyone. If this was your first time, I hope that you go ahead and subscribe to the page so you can be updated on all the different people that are coming. I mentioned the one, but yeah, I've got a few entrepreneurs coming in the near future. There's another, it's a couple of sisters who started their own, Black women, meaning sisters, who started their own olive oil company. So they sent me some samples. So we're going to talk about their olive oil and how they, started that company, and how, we can use, those types of things. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff coming on the horizon. So please stay tapped in, whether it's Live Well Sister for these types of conversations, or BGC Book Club, which is Monday nights, where we, are talking about some of our favorite fiction books with some of our favorite fiction authors. So that's all I've got for now. Thank you again for your time and being here, and we will see you again real soon. Take good care. Bye-bye.